On a scale of 1 to 10, how shocked are you by the existence of this TikTok couple, Michelle and Steven? And what does it say about you or the world if you're at a 10? And what does it say about you or the world if you're at a 1? Let's run the clip.
Yeah. Es una blanquita con el sol y de una ya se pone. Wanna see you with the show.
Stupid Cupid, you're a real mean guy.
Listen, guys. Do I need to explain myself? You know what? I don't need to explain myself because this is going viral on Reddit and on every single TikTok they post for a reason. Let's just get into the comments section. Somebody said, bro did the impossible. How are 2 out of 10 guys pulling fine-ish like this? My man looks straight out of Schedule 1, which is funny. But you guys gotta understand, looking like a video game character is actually still a look. Looking like an avatar is still a look. A fourth comment, he did what many failed to do. Congratulations, brother. Obviously, he's referring to getting out of the friend zone because apparently he was in the friend zone and then he worked his way out of it. Somebody said, bro's the dragon warrior. This is the reverse Oxford study because obviously the Oxford study was saying that a more attractive Asian women will get with a less attractive white guy. This is a more attractive white woman getting with a quote-unquote lower value, less attractive Asian guy. Somebody said, bro looks like he's the gay best friend. Easy, here's our little toy and simping all the way up. This guy making a cynical read, possibly jealous, but also I wouldn't say a completely like out of the stratosphere either. That's from a non-Asian guy. Jedi mind trick. Her grandparents cry. He is a software engineer at Uber, 500K base pay essentially. And this guy said this, and I can't get a girlfriend, bro. I mean, long story short, what everybody's referring to is the dynamic of a dorkier computer science, computer engineer, definitely some sort of deep data architecture looking guy who's clearly not, like I said, I think he has a look in a way, and she just happens to like that look, but it just seems like something so rare. But I actually am not as shocked by this because I've seen, especially like a lot of Icelandic, sort of interesting, like hot, but like slightly emo alt girls, whether we're talking about Lord or we're talking about Lord. Lord had a very famous Vietnamese boyfriend that Tyler, the creator, was surprised by. What else have I seen? There's this couple in Thailand, Lily, they married, I believe, like somebody from the village and had a family with them. There's this really old, ugly guy in China who's famous for having a hotter, younger girl too. I guess this one's like more interracial. It's in Australia. So that's why it's more viral, like in different spheres. Obviously, the old Chinese guy is like going viral in China. So just in that fishbowl. Anyway, what I'm saying is like, obviously this is not like standard distribution. This is not something that most guys should bank on themselves finding. This is like hitting the lottery, or this is like being a thrifter and you put in the work to thrift and you found this 1993 Gucci piece that makes you look like a style god or whatever. Or this is like finding rare Jordans at the outlet for like $50 and then you resell them for $450. Those type of finds, as rare as still exist in 2025, they're just rare, right? But here's the thing, because it's more acceptable to accept Asians amongst the 25-year-old and under crowd, which I believe Michelle falls into, these sort of like rare, what we call like glitches in the game and like glitches in Wreck-It Ralph, these glitches are more apparent than they were in the past. So let's just say in the past, a above average Caucasian woman really fancying a nerdish Asian guy was like 1 in 100 million. Now it might be like 1 in 100,000. And Steven gets to be that 1 in 100,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because the reverse of it, where there's a above average Asian girl with a below average Western guy, that might be in Thailand 1 out of like 50 in some neighborhoods. That's 2%. Like I saw 6 of those couples today. Let me pop up a photo. I saw this couple 5 minutes before I made this video. So why is everybody so surprised, especially if the Asian world is coming up? These glitches or these things that like cut against it. Basically what I'm saying is like the outlier distributions are becoming slightly larger than they used to be. So it's not like, basically the growth curve is being flattened out. It's still, the growth curve is still the growth curve. It still has the normal bulk distribution, what we call like belt of the curve shape, like what most people will experience, 80% of people, 90% of people. But it used to be probably like 99.9%, maybe now it's only 90%. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's just get into the comments section. That's basically my take on it. And that's why I'm not as surprised by it. But like I said, earlier, there was a whole debate in the comment section about like, how surprised should we be? Should people hope to get this outcome for themselves? Or is this just like hitting the lottery? You know, so anyway, in the comment section, we got people cheering. I stood up and applauded for bro in public. The casual racism in the comments is insane. You're giving a lot of Asian guys hope. All right, so we got to get to the first larger takeaway. Should this give all software engineers hope that they're going to find a Michelle, some sort of like Icelandic snow queen who looked like she out of Norway, the fields of Norway, eating all types of grains and dill or whatever? All right, I would say the answer is it could, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to look smacks and try to do the things to put you in the more things that are like conventionally appealing. I would say that does definitely not make sense. Like, that's like looking at somebody who hit the lottery or somebody had an altcoin that 1000x and be like, yeah, that's the best way to get rich. Not working hard, lifting in the morning, putting myself around successful people. It's just all about altcoins going parabolic and then you're rugging everybody. Yes, it's happened a lot over the last 10 years. I saw more younger kids get rich off crypto scams than building regular companies like Amazon, for sure, but it still doesn't mean that's for you. So what I'm saying is yes and no, but yeah, obviously guys should still do the conventional things and work on their fashion, because yeah, how many Michelles are out there? Just enjoy Michelle and Steven, but you don't have to think that that's necessarily gonna happen to you, for sure, if you're more like in a Steven build. But it's up to you. Like you said, maybe it keeps you going. Some people love their identity that they have, regardless of how the environment is responding to it, and it does give them hope. Some people think that it's fake or that he paid. Obviously, this was a really common one amongst non-Asians, but even some Asians were thinking maybe he paid for it. Dude, there was even this theory floated that he built a sentient cyborg. And I was like, bro, how crazy is it that people think that he developed an AI cyborg rather than he just got an above average white girlfriend? Like, I was like, because obviously when you see it the other way around, you're just like, oh yeah, that's just the way the world's been for like hundreds of years. But this, oh my God, he's put a white skin on a robot. Some people said they're worried for Steven to keep Michelle, because he always has to mate guard, because a lot of guys, white guys, non-Asians, and even possibly other predatory Asian males will come for Michelle and be in her DMs. I think for sure that's gonna happen, for sure, because guys are kind of like sharks. They're gonna be like, oh, yo, you with the small shark, dweeby shark, baby shark, do-do-do-do, and I'm like a bigger, you know, you're with a nurse shark, I'm a great white. It'll be pretty easy for me. But they're not understanding the special connection, and I don't even know the validity of the relationship. I'm operating off the fact that Michelle and Steven is a legit relationship, because it sells it to me, and I'm pretty discerning, but I could be wrong, but I'm just operating off the fact that it's real. You can't meet how funny he is, how sweet he is, how maybe she loves playing that video game Schedule 1 and always wanted to be a video game character herself. Not everybody is hyper normative in the sense of like a girl who looks like Michelle got to get with like a buff white dude, or even maybe if she likes Asian guys, like a buff Hapa dude who's like half Asian, half white or whatever. Like maybe she wants to get with the actual Sims characters that she was playing with in the games growing up. I've seen all types of weird stuff. The other day I was at the club and I met somebody at the other table who had a split fork tongue that was like a snake. Literally, I was like, will your tongue even heal if you split your tongue like that? You know, that's kind of big in like the goth alt world or whatever. And like some guys are gonna be really into that, but for me that was super weird. But I'm just saying, like, there's just a lot of distributions of the population. Is it more likely that you're gonna meet a white girl who looks like Michelle that likes an Asian guy like Steven, or meet somebody who wants to permanently split their tongue like they're tasting the air like a reptile? I'm just wondering, you know what I mean? Other people were saying, they were obviously speculating on how much he paid, what kind of mansions he has, does he own a crypto platform or whatever. So anyway, let's get into the final comments that are addressing this, because for me, I'm just gonna pop up more photos and let everybody in the comment section talk about it. Somebody said, why are other guys who aren't mad white, why are other guys who are not white themselves mad about this? Because there were some people in the comments, like specific, I don't know how to call them out, but I'm just keeping it real. Latinos and Arab dudes and some Indian dudes that were like, they couldn't believe it, right? And what I'm saying is, those guys themselves are not Anglo, right? But they are bought into the ranking of Anglo society. You don't have to be genetically Western to have a Western frame of mind and a Western hierarchy and a Western ranking of different people and different systems of how you fit within like a ladder, you know what I mean, or a totem pole. Like Western thinking has been disconnected. It's become so ubiquitous globally. Western thinking is not limited to people who are genetically Western. Or maybe it's just a Western hemisphere thinking, you know what I mean? But even Asian guys are gonna see Steven as nerdy, but they're just not gonna like feel the same emotionality about it, because more so a larger distribution on a probability basis is gonna be just happy for Steven, because at some point in their life, many Asian guys, specifically East Asian guys, have been treated like we are Steven within the environments that we inhabit. Like for me, I've never looked like Steven, but when I used to play on the high school basketball team at a very jocular urban school, I was treated sometimes like I was Steven. So I know what it's like to have that cultural spacing, but just within a different fishbowl. Somebody said, there was a whole bunch of comments from guys saying, this is not as crazy as everybody thinks. He just seems like a dope guy. Maybe she just likes the financial security. She likes the peace. These are all things that are not wrong to say. Like, you know, she could be really into cutesy things. You know what I mean? Like not into hot things, more into cutesy things. Like I said, different people like different stuff. I've seen people who are into cosplay, people into Twitch, like a girl who's like a Twitch streamer can only date another Twitch streamer because she like has taken that on to like almost past her looks identity or past her racial identity is her Twitch identity. That to her is the identity that she's placing above all else, you know? Some people are talking about the timing of culture has changed essentially away from pure like jock Anglosphere dominance. Yeah, that's what I said. I just said, yeah, this isn't the thing you would bet on, but it's gonna be something you can bet on happening more and more. Somebody said sometimes fobs like Steven, who I believe were partially raised in the East, are more confident and have more interesting or complex personalities than Asian Americans that are born in Australia or America. I always think this is an interesting point. It's entirely possible because sometimes their whole life is not based around being as an outsider. They were an insider to the dominant group at some point, which gives you a certain peace or freedom of mind or confidence, you know? Some people said social circle game is the only thing that works when you want to bat way out of your league. So they're saying that social circle game is like something that only, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about niche maxing. Like sometimes in a niche or in a social circle where people are like, it's a bunch of horse trainers, the girl who loves horses so much is only gonna pick another guy who's a horse trainer. That's an incredibly statistically smaller pool than like the larger population. Yes, of course, like a Stacy or a Becky who's in tri-delts, she's just looking like maybe within the frat system or the athletic D1 scholarship system for their guy. You know, not everybody in the world looks everywhere in the world. Like some people have a very, very narrow field of view or like cloud of war of what they like see on the game map. And ultimately, other people were just glad to see it. I mean, that's kind of like where I feel too. I'm just happy for this guy. I hope that it's real. I'll be sad if it comes out, just like a lot of other people, if it comes out and it was fake or it was for views or it was for brand deals. But yeah, I just think that these things, let's just say this, what used to be impossible is becoming more and more possible, but it's not necessarily statistically probable, but it's good to see. So what does it say? What do you guys think? Is it real? Is it fake? Give me both scenarios and how you feel about it, and how would you feel about it if it comes out, shakes out either way. I hope it's real, but I don't know. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.